Hello, VIT. Welcome to yet another episode of the official podcast. This episode, we have an illustrious and a distinguished alumni who's from the batch of 2017. Meet Mr. Raghav Arora, a B.Tech in information technology. He has carved a niche for himself in the areas of smart mobility and revolutionized the way India travels. Hi, Raghav. Welcome to the official show.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Same with us. And, from Haridwar to Vellore, can you summarize this journey? How it has been so far?
Yeah, I mean, it's very tough to summarize something that has almost shaped my life. Uh, as I said in the speech today morning, Haridwar is a place which taught me how beautiful the world can be. It's very less polluted. When I moved to VIT, this is a place that taught me how to think big. It shaped my thinking abilities, my problem solving abilities. And finally, I went and joined Wipro, which was a very corporatist journey. On this journey with Wipro, I kind of learned how it is important to also maneuver the bureaucratic culture in larger organizations. And then finally landed in a startup where things move at extremely fast pace. The entrepreneurial journey is actually the most fun journey that I've seen in the last 10, 15 years. And here I am trying to probably try to change the world, or at least the way the world moves.
Great. So, how did you get to know about VIT after your 12th, right? I mean, it must have been some decision to travel all the way from Haridwar, Uttarakhand to down south in Vellore. Can you
Yeah.
take through this journey, recall this journey?
Yeah, it's actually a very interesting journey, Sudarshan. So we, as a group of students from a very small town, usually look up at NITs and IITs to get into engineering colleges. Back in 12th, when I was giving my 12th exams, we were making a list of colleges in which we actually should apply. Ironically, VIT was not a college that we could get into with AIEEE, I remember. And back then also VT used to be the exam
Yep,
that we
it still
had
is.
to do. And I remember my coaching institute telling me that VT is as tough as AIEEE. That is all that I knew about VIT. I ended up giving VT because, of course, of the good tags that VT had, and scored a good rank. As soon as I got into VT, I had also gotten into an NIT, but I remember researching about VIT. Although my parents were not in a lot of favor to send me so far from home because it's almost 2000 kilometers. My mother, I remember, ended up asking, how far is this place actually? Small towns don't let you get so much exposure. And I told her that, it's pretty far and I might only come 2 times, 3 times a year. You can't do more than that. But that's how I got to know, and I'm glad that I made those decisions now.
It's a good decision, I
Yeah,
suppose. There's no looking back at that decision.
absolutely not.
Right.
Yes.
Soldier, footballer, cricketer, and also a chancellor. You wanted to become, everything, but then eventually ended up becoming an entrepreneur. So how did entrepreneurship happen?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to become everything majorly because I am someone who's very hungry. That's the way I operate. Uh, I wanted to become a cricketer while watching World Cups. When I saw the chancellor for the first time and I saw how big that position is, I was like, why am I not a chancellor? But I think entrepreneurship, because entrepreneurship gives you a lot. If you have some hunger that cannot go away, there's no other profession except entrepreneurship that you can actually make do with.
Yeah.
It gives you real life challenges every day. I was actually trying multiple things in this journey. I went on to do a corporate job. I went on to also run an institute and be a trainer slash professor. And then I tried to be an entrepreneur. And that is where my clock kind of, the needle kind of stopped. Because that's probably, gives me an opportunity to run things with my passion. I don't count time because I
Yeah.
love doing what I do. Hence, trying to be an entrepreneur.
Excellent. And Static happens to be your second
Yes.
venture, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
And Static is revolutionizing the way India travels. So can you talk more about Static and tell our viewers what Static is all about? You are the co-founder and also a CTO of
Yes.
Static. So Yeah.
Yeah. So at Static, we initially wanted to build, I guess back in 2019, we actually thought we'll make electric vehicles. Sooner than later, we realized that electric vehicles can actually be produced only by conglomerates. But then we spotted another major challenge, which was lack of EV charging infrastructure. It was almost like you are building airplanes, but you don't have runways. We said, why not? We'll build the runways while EV OEMs build the airplanes. At Static, we make world class EV charging infrastructure. We are making India for the world company. We manufacture EV chargers. We install them at different locations across the country, and then we make them accessible using a mobile application for both B2C and B2B customers. And that's how we make EVs a reality. And we're trying to make electric cars as real as petrol cars. So that's the framework of EV transportation that we're trying to build in the country today.
Right. So, which is path breaking. I think Static has been revolutionizing. That's the right way to use. But then, how easy it is to go to market for a product like Static, and what challenges that you face as an entrepreneur when it comes to GTM strategies?
Yeah, I think, see, very early on in, and this is what I tell a lot of young people, very early on in your entrepreneurial journey, uh, if you're someone who cares less, it helps. I remember the first mobile application that we launched in 2019, and I'm super embarrassed of the product that we launched. Which is why today I say if you're not embarrassed of a product that you've launched, you've probably launched it too late. So we've not really cared about how good or bad it was. Our GTM was simple: go to market, be iterative, understand from users what they want, and then do an iteration to make sure that the next one is better. Being better each day has made us today reach a point from that mobile application which I am embarrassed of to a point where we are the highest rated mobile application in the country in EV charging space today. So that's how the iterative journey has helped us. Easy, I guess, is an illusionary world when you talk about entrepreneurship. It requires sacrifices, passion. Sacrifices don't feel sacrifices if you're passionate about what you do. So for me, it's not a job. For me, it's genuinely something that I love doing. Working 18 hours or 16 or 14, it genuinely doesn't matter, because when you love something you do, you don't count hours. So yeah, it is, entrepreneurship in itself is a journey which is tough, but then in the end, if you love it, it's absolutely worth it.
True. I think two key takeaways in the conversation is, first thing, for the for the juniors and
Yeah.
also for the budding entrepreneurs. I think what you told is, uh, you know, be critical of what you do. You
Yes.
said you felt a little bit embarrassed by your own app, which is brilliant. I think not everyone takes criticism at heart, but then if you are going to be your first critic, and if you accept criticisms in a constructive way, I think that's the stepping stone of a successful entrepreneurship firm. So that, I think you have got it right. The second thing which I really liked, should commend at this stage, is identification of a gap. You wanted to start, you want to manufacture e-vehicles, but then you quickly identified that that's not going to be the space. You found a gap, and then you kind of started getting into that gap, and now you are kind of a market leader, becoming a market leader in the gap. That's, I think, commendable. But then, what was that decision? That must have been some decision for you to shift away from your core thought of building a e-car or e-vehicle to an ancillary thing now, right? So what prompted you?
Yeah. No, I think very good question. So a lot of people ask me, Raghav, do you sometimes imagine making electric cars? Or would you have, if you would have not made that decision, would you have been making electric cars? The answer is, I don't know. I genuinely don't know. What I know is that we went very hard on a problem that we thought we could solve. I think we were practical. I think we could see a solution. There were two problems. One was no EVs. The other was no charging infrastructure. Both a chicken and egg problem. We tried to be sensible in making sure that we attack something at full speed. And that something can only be where you actually have a thread to start. When it was EVs, we actually had no clue and we had no thread to start. But when it was EV chargers, we actually knew chip design, we knew IT, we knew mobile apps. So that experience kind of helped a bit, and we started capitalizing on solving the problem that we think we could solve.
Yeah.
And that's how we stayed practical and just maneuvered towards charging. Today, I'm glad that we maneuvered towards it. At the very beginning, I mean, you also use the word ancillary. At the very beginning of this journey, I also used to think, this is an ancillary. Oh, would petrol be as important as, or maybe as famous as cars are? And the answer to that is something that I got very recently now. When I see most of the EVs in the country are actually powered by us, and our EV charging infrastructure literally powers around 80% of the charging infrastructure of the country. And EV OEMs are as dependent on us as are we. So it has kind of become
The core.
the core. And now I'm happy about it.
Excellent. I think that's some journey. That's a brilliant way to summarize that. It's no more an ancillary. It's
Yes.
now the core.
Yeah.
Great. But when you spoke about the technology, when you spoke about electrical aspect, when you spoke about smart mobility, which kind of there in mechanical space, it's multidisciplinary. I'm coming to that multidisciplinary part where, for juniors and young budding entrepreneurs watching this show, I think that's the way forward, being multidimensional, multidisciplinary in nature, because your domain involves specialization in technology, in electrical, as well as in mechanical. So, how would you summarize that?
Yeah, I think it's very important in today's world. There was a saying earlier, you can actually be jack of all, master of none. And that's right. You can be jack of all, master of none. But you cannot today be jack of none and master of one. So that's very important to understand. The multifaceted way of learning, where I've really seen computer science engineers doing electricals, and I've seen mechanical engineers doing computers.
Yeah.
So having a balance of each and everything, and probably trying to solve everything that comes your way in the best possible manners, makes you learn multiple things.
And you are a best example of multidisciplinary learning because you come from a very strong IT background.
IT,
You finished
yes.
your information
And I'm running an
technology,
electrical
running
company.
an electric
So
company,
yeah.
and your LinkedIn says you are a data science
Data
and
scientist, yes.
machine learning specialist. So
Yes.
I think that's a classical example of how
Yes.
all three beautifully integrates to come up with solutions. So can we take it as uh, to derive a solution today, to provide a solution? I think you got to become multidisciplinary. You
For
can't be
sure.
unidimensional,
Yeah,
right?
and it's also very important to be multidisciplinary, because then you can handle experts from multiple disciplines.
Yeah.
So yes, I totally resonate. It's important to be a generalist at some level with an expert niche that you're trying to build.
Yeah.
That's very important today.
When you spoke in the university and sports day, you used a terminology called fear of failure, which I think everybody has, be it an entrepreneur, be it a non-entrepreneur. I think uh, everyone will come across that fear of failure. So when did that eureka moment happen to you? How did that happen, and how did you overcome that fear of failure?
Yeah, I think, see, you'll always have a fear of failure. Even today, we at times question, what if after making static uh, reach some point, and it has capabilities to reach even higher? What if we make a wrong decision? What if people laugh at what we do? What if we fail from where we are? And that fear constantly hits the human mind. I personally think the biggest answer to this is, so what? So what if you fail? The biggest of people have failed and learned, and no textbook can teach you what failure can. So what if people laugh at you? People have always laughed on everyone who's changed how the world works. And all I would say is, we should start caring less about failures, and we should start caring more about the learnings that the failures can give. The outcomes of failures are not as worse as we think. And my message to the entire youth is that failures can literally shape your journey more than success can. So let's not be afraid of failures. Even I overcome them each day.
Yeah.
And that's the single biggest blocker between uh, exceptional people and some extraordinary things happening in their lives.
So Gen Z can afford to fail also. That's
Absolutely,
also
yes.
there, right? They
Absolutely,
can
yes.
afford to fail.
Yeah.
Unlike the generation before, I think people uh, are okay to fail now. They
Yes.
say
And
it's
that's
fine.
how it should be.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great. So, coming back to your college, you remember, I mean, you passed out in the year 2017, which is kind of going to be a decade now. Do you remember how your college used to be, how VIT used to be, and the VIT of 2013 to 17 and the VIT of 2026? You've been there in the campus now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, see, first things first, I think VIT is one place that moves at absolutely great speeds, both in terms of innovation, in terms of academic progression, and everything else. This university just adapts too fast. 2017, when I was there, VIT was probably the most tech savvy university that I could think of. Things like the fully flexible credit system, the hostel room allotment process. These were things very unique to the world. And VIT has never been complacent. All this, almost a decade later, when I'm coming, I still find new, or I should say, first in segment things VIT is doing today. I saw I saw the architect block that has been created, the Pearl Tower in which we are sitting. The world in 2017 for VIT ended at the Silver Jubilee Tower, and the way it has expanded in the last 7, 8, 9 years, I could not have probably imagined this story for VIT if I would have not come here and
True.
seen it.
True.
But it's massive. It's absolutely commendable on how VIT is maneuvering
Yeah.
the new education system.
Absolutely. And you vividly remember the hostel that you stayed, the rooms that you stayed. You went back to the hostel.
Yes, so
Can you tell
I
our students which block you stayed and what are some of the uh, right mischievous thing that you did? Right kind of mischievous thing.
yeah, so yeah, I honestly came down last night, and the first thing that I did was, took a walk towards
The hostel.
the hostels, and everything kind of flashed back. I could see my friends moving around.
So where did you stay? Which block you stayed?
I was in N block
N.
in the first year. Second year was K block.
Hmm.
The third year was D annex,
Oh,
and fourth was E.
all four different blocks.
Four different blocks, and I mean, in VIT, most of the people would live in different blocks. Most of students would live in different blocks each year because of the entire system.
FFCS.
That's how beautifully it has been built. I went down to each of these, and I had my favorite veg puff at
Oh,
the Enzo. um, on mischievous things, I think I have never been penalized for something too wrong. My records are pretty clean, but I remember one thing very vividly. There used to be this late night dinner
yeah.
uh, for my Muslim friends,
Hmm.
which was during the
Ramzan.
Ramadan.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember we used to go, they used to take us. I mean, it's a very harmonious place. I remember a couple of my friends used to take us there and have that food, which was actually not made for us. And then on the very 10th day, there was a food shortage because a lot of us were going and eating there. And I remember the chief warden calling us and scolding us for doing that.
Yeah.
But I think that did not cause much harm to the world, so I'm
That's
okay.
not mischievous.
Okay, sharing, yes.
That's not mischievous at all. Right. Great. So you remember some of the faculty members who taught you and any specific faculty that you really liked. You can probably.
Yeah, I want to be honest here. I have only, while building this company for last 5 years, entrepreneurship really takes you head on, and you kind of make a lot of sacrifices, starting from friendships to families, and your relationships with everyone, including faculties. The only two faculties that I've actually ever been in touch with all these years is Brijesh sir and Deepa ma'am. They both have really been a guiding light to what I've done starting 2015 when I started working or volunteering for Rivera. I've seen how passionately they work. I've seen how lovingly they take decisions in favor of students. And since then, they've just been my guiding light. Anytime in the last 4 5 years, I've either achieved something or have failed at something. The first thing that I've done is probably, call them up. Even today, after my speech, the first thing that I did after reaching main guest house was video call ma'am and sir, and ask them how was it. Did you Their approval matters a lot, and I was like, do you validate it was okay? They were okay, so I am okay.
Entrepreneurship, I think, started very, very early in your career. I'll tell you why. Um, you were the founder of Code Chef, which is the chapter, and it's a thriving chapter in VIT today. So, can you share about your experiences of your own chapter, which is Code Chef?
Yeah, I think, see, CodeChef was actually my crash course to entrepreneurship. We decided to find a chapter in VIT, and it took around 6 months. And we went and talked to the CodeChef folks, prepared an application, and then founded it. I was actually the president of CodeChef back then, ran it for a year, and I'm so glad I came back today. And the CodeChef leadership has reached out to keep a session, and I'm meeting them after this. So, yes, that was my first exposure to finding something, and still remains the first thing that I found.
Excellent. And this is a massive campus you were a part of. You said that you knew till SJT. Is there any particular spot that you are very, very fond of and you would like to go back today, or probably you went yesterday and recollected?
Yeah, I mean, Foodies is one place
Right.
which
So popular,
a
eh,
popular place.
very
Everyone
popular.
sits there,
Yeah.
sits in the center of the campus, so friends from different branches can come and sit down and relax there. I did write my speech for VIT University Day sitting in Foodies last night.
Oh,
So it was a very nostalgic
yeah.
moment for me. But that's one place that I always love going
Yeah.
back to.
Yeah, life comes a full circle, and that you mentioned this morning also in the University Day speech, where you said that chancellor visiting your office, Statiq in New Delhi last week, was something which is surreal, and that life came to a complete full circle for you. Can you talk something about our chancellor?
Chancellor Sir and Vice Presidents coming to Static is something that I probably cannot explain in words. I mean, people whose institution have shaped you, they coming to the walls of something that you've built from scratch. That is genuinely a full circle that I did not know I needed. And I met Chancellor Sir for the last 2 weeks, at least 3 to 4 times. All I had done for him till now was imagine who he is. I had heard about him from so many places, but last few days were a validation for me to know the energy that he carries, the way he compartmentalizes things in his head, how he's still fond of knowing in and out of everything, the kind of questions that he asked me, so appropriate. He's a living legend, and I genuinely, I am so grateful for the fact that one, he could come to Static office and could bless all of us out there. I'm more confident about what we are building now. And second, that I could come and be a part of such a prestigious event. And we signed that MOU between Static and VIT. And I'm looking to finally give back to my
Alma.
alma mater after taking so much from this university.
Take that confidence, and on behalf of VIT, we would like to wish you all the very best, and we would like to see you listed very soon in one of the top markets, and we wish you all the very best, Rahul. Have a nice time. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.